Hello YouTube, I'm Al, and I'm autistic, and I've been thinking about doing this for a long time, at least a quarter of my life, if not longer, even before I was formally diagnosed, which happened a few years ago. But I've spent a lot of time wondering about it, whether I should or not. Because whenever I have tried to talk to people in the past, almost universally, when I've tried to tell them problems I have in my day-to-day life, it's shrugged off. It's like, everybody deals with that. Other people have it worse. It's not a fucking competition. So it took me a long time to decide to actually do it, because I thought that's going to happen. Now, I have another YouTube channel where I do video essays about video games. Get very poor views on that. I express a lot. I script them. I edit them. I don't have that problem there, because in that instance, it's something, for me, the fun part of that, the engagement, the rewarding part, is just getting all my thoughts together into a coherent, cohesive, structured, somewhat, disquisition, and just getting it out of my head. That doesn't really bother me, but this is different, because this is my life, this is me, this is who and what I am. I just think, what's the point in putting it out there if no one's going to listen, no one's going to engage? It's not so much because people aren't listening to me. I've kind of found peace with that. But I engage with a fair amount of autistic content, I suppose you could say. Other people advocating for better understanding of what autism actually is, how it affects people. And they can be very helpful for a lot of people. But that's really what's compelled me finally to take the plunge, because I don't find it very helpful at all. Because it's not me. I was talking to my wife about this earlier today. Yeah, still today. I'm the wrong kind of autistic. I think that's what it is. Because people keep saying, you know, autistic people are so diverse, they're all individuals. But if you do start expressing things that are different from the consensus, just like with any other group, you get pushed aside. You know, we don't really go into that here. What's the fucking point? If it's all about getting out the true, authentic version of yourself, that's what they say now, your authentic self. If it's all about expressing your authentic self, what's the point if I'm not being authentic? If I'm just towing the party line, so to speak. Because autism does affect people in very different ways. And apparently, it affects me in a very different way that is not liked by a lot of people, which is frustrating. Immensely frustrating. Which is something you'll hear from a lot of autistic people. Which makes it all the more infuriating when they're the ones doing it, because you'd really think that they should be able to understand. They should have a better idea. But they don't. So you see, there's this thing that people call the double empathy problem. There's no such thing. The double empathy problem is when empathy doesn't go both ways. But the truth of the matter is, generally speaking, empathy doesn't go either way. Not really. People try to be empathetic. Some people do make sincere attempts. I think I'm pretty sincere in my attempts to be empathetic, but I don't think it really exists, not in the way that people talk about it. You can't understand somebody else's mind. You can have an idea, You can think that you have comparable experiences, but you don't know. You only know what they tell you and what you think they mean. You see, human memory is constructive, not recollective. We don't actually remember events. We remember key points, and then we build a memory around those points. The example I remember being given was about seeing somebody's car in a car park at the same time as somebody else. And it's just a benign acknowledgement that the car was there. But when people remember that, they remember that this car's there, that other car's there, this person's a man, this person's a woman. They must be having an affair. They must be meeting. They're meeting at a hotel. It's an illicit affair. Couldn't possibly be that they both work down the street and that's just the nearest parking spot that they have. Maybe they even both work at the same place. Who knows? But that's my point. Memory is constructive. You construct the narrative. You're actually telling yourself a story when you remember something. Even the people with the best memories, that's how it works. And empathy is the same way. You think you understand what someone is feeling. You think you can relate. And in your mind, that's correct. You do relate to what you think they mean, what you think they are saying, how you think they feel. And there are people like myself where it's a lot harder to do that. I've had so many instances where I've been trying to explain something to a person, to explain what's going on in my head, and they're like, oh yeah, I understand, you mean... So I think it was a tweet talking about online discourse at the moment. Somebody says, I love waffles. And these days, especially online, the response is more likely to be, why do you hate pancakes? I mean, it's very clumsy, but I hope you can get where I'm coming from with this. Instead of responding to the positive statement about this one thing, there are all these inferences that are drawn about other things. Although, let's be honest, a lot of online discourse these days, it's more likely to be, I love waffles, actually you're a Nazi. Because, or a libtard, or a feminazi, or whatever the fuck kids are saying these days. It's not just kids. But intellectual integrity is something that is really important to me. To be as intellectually honest as possible. I know a lot of other people claim that, but I don't see that in the way they behave. So it makes it straying off the point. You see, this is the way my mind works. I go off on these wild tangents because I can't get the information out as quickly as I'd like, as coherently as I'd like. I need to explain the steps along the way. I will always come back to a point. But it can take me all around the houses to get there, so people don't have time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. They want to cut to the chase. They want to make it simple. People like things to be nice and simple. I'm the same. I like things to be simple, even when I know they're not. This is why you get so many of these situations of it. It's either this or this. There's always a third option, at least. Like if you flip a coin, it's going to land heads or tails. But if you flip a coin enough times, suppose one time it lands on its edge. It can happen. There are always more than just the two. I'm really tired. I'm so tired of it all. Tired of the way people do try to simplify things. They have this idea of this is how it is, and if you deviate from that, you couldn't possibly just have a differing opinion or a differing experience. You have to be intentionally trying to mislead. Jacking off, that whole I'm just asking questions. Yeah, there are people who do that, but to assume that that's every single instance, or even the majority of instances, even a significant minority of instances, it's not productive. It doesn't help anybody. This is the problem I have with trying to express these things. Is I don't give a fuck about neurotypical people at this point and what they think about how I'm feeling, because I get it. They're not going to understand, holistic. I fucking hate that term. I get that. But when it's other autistic people, I'd hope that they could at least attempt to meet me halfway, because we hear so much talk about that. Just meet us halfway. Well, if you're not willing to meet me halfway, why is anybody else going to do it? Why is anybody going to meet you halfway? And there's a reason I started us off by saying I'm autistic, because that in itself is a sticking point for some people. You have to be an autistic person, rather than a person with autism, because it's identity first. Why? Autism isn't an identity. It's just what I am. Autism is no more an identity to me than saying I'm fingertism, whatever you want to call it. I have fingers. That's not an identity. That's just an actuality of what I am. So I'm a person and I'm autistic. I'm not an autistic person or a person with autism. I am a person and I am autistic. These are just two facts about what I am, not who I am. I'm reminded a lot of descriptions of Twitter bios. Twitter's pretty much the only social network that I use. So, people listening there, it's like, I'm an activist, I'm a gamer, I'm a bibliophile, whatever it is. It's like, that tells me nothing about you. Those are all things about what you are. There are some inferences that can be drawn, obviously. Personally, if I come across a bibliophile or somebody who plays video games, I'm more likely to be able to find common ground with them, because I like to read and I like to play video games. But that doesn't mean I'm going to like them as a person. For all I know, their favourite pastime could be kicking puppies. That could be the thing that defines them the most, cruelty. Or they could just be fucking boring and only play the most popular game that's out because it's what's been shoved up your ass by marketing, and I don't give a shit about that one. Well, maybe I do. Sometimes I like the popular games. But there's the thing with the autistic thing, is like people get so up in arms about this. Like, what does it matter? We're supposed to be trying to come together here to work with each other for a better understanding, so everybody can be more true to who and what they are. But as long as it's only done in the right way. And I don't even know if I'm going to put this up at this moment, because I'm very rambly and there's so much I need to say. And I don't know where to go with it. I don't really know how to get it all out, because it's been there for so long and I've tried so many times in so many different ways, and it's always... I don't know, I just feel like it's time that I started talking about it. It's time that I started expressing these things, because I'm certain that there are other people out there who have had similar experiences and have similar feelings to me. I know for certain that there is somebody who's very much like me in a lot of their views, specifically around being autistic, because I've been watching their YouTube channel. That's one of the biggest motivators as to why I did this, because I saw them doing something that was a little bit different than the usual autistic stuff. And weirdly enough, uncomfortably in fact, they live on my fucking doorstep. They live somewhere over there. I don't know exactly where, because that area over there covers a few square miles, but that's it. It's a few miles. We're within a few miles of each other. It's weird. They also have a beard. And they're about the same age. A little bit younger, I think. Also they like dogs. I prefer cats. But I know there are other people out there who could potentially benefit from just hearing somebody speak about this just in a little bit of a different way. Just to let them know that there's nothing wrong with the way you feel. Because there isn't. Whoever you are, whatever the neurodivergence or neurotypical, whatever it is, there is nothing wrong with feeling the way you feel. It could be neurochemical and it could be fixed and he would be better from it, but it's not wrong. It's just different. I want to be very clear about this one though. If it is something that's neurochemical, like if it's actually schizophrenia, don't sit on that shit. Get the treatment. Take the lithium. No, that's bipolar, isn't it? Whatever it is that they give you for schizophrenia. If you're bipolar, take the lithium. You know, have the lithium. It'll help. It will help. I know somebody who's bipolar. He takes a lot of lithium, and it really helps him. But the way he feels is not invalid because of that. Those are his feelings. That's the way he feels about these things. And they are objectively true for him. And to tell him he's wrong because he doesn't align with the norm of whatever this thing is, because we're already deviating from accepted ranges, and then we go to this other one where we're told it's okay to be different as long as you fall into these set patterns. That's fucking horseshit. It's bollocks. It's fucking disgusting how tribal people can be about these things. So, going back to what I was saying about, you know, being a gamer or bibliophile or whatever the bollocks, just because somebody's autistic doesn't mean I'm going to get on with them. Doesn't mean they're going to get on with me. Maybe we'll find common ground. But we shouldn't have to find common ground because we're autistic. We should be able to find common ground because we're just trying to be decent people. Just trying to be nice. Don't even have to be nice. Just civil. Just polite. That's all it takes. Because you can find common ground with anyone. You just have to put in a bit of like work on both sides. That's all it is. So no. So I think, yeah, I don't know what else the fuck I need to say. I'll try as I continue doing this, because I'm going to keep doing this. I'll try and make it more structured. I'll try and get more to the point. I'll try and be less rambly and less ranty. Or maybe I won't, because this is me. This is how I express things when I'm given the opportunity to just say, to just speak. So maybe I'll be even worse. In fact, probably I will, because I'm going to get more and more pissed off as I talk about these things. And I think that's going to be the key takeaway from this. I think that will be the key takeaway from everything I'm going to talk about. You do you. I'm going to do me. You do you. And if somebody tells you it's wrong, fuck them. If they say we don't allow that here, that's fine. Might think you're a pussy for doing it, for trying to take out the dissenting voices. But if you have your space and you don't want things to be done in that way in your space, absolutely fine. To tell me I can't, I mean, unless I'm hurting people, but I think we can agree on that one. If you're going out like shiving people up, yeah, don't do that. That's wrong. That is definitely wrong. Most of the time, I'll accept there are probably some exceptions. You know, if they're trying to shiv you up, then by all means, stab the shit out of them. You know. But if someone tries to tell you you're wrong for the way you feel, which has happened to me for my entire fucking life, tell them to get fucked. Seriously, just tell them to get fucked. Or, better yet, the thing I found that is the easiest way for me to do is just don't fucking deal with them anymore. Just like, alright, bye, leave them, cut them out of your life. Doesn't matter who it is, cut them out of your life. It's not easy to do, no. Really fucking hard to do. I know that. There are people I've had to put up with because they're necessary. It's like, you know, I've had to put up with other employees, I've had to put up with employers, certain members of the family. I can't cut them out. Not because I don't want to, not because I'm worried it'll create friction in the family, but that's another story. You know, there's some people you just can't avoid sometimes. But if you can, for any reason, even if it's going to be hard, unless you are actually bound to them where you have to be there, like, you don't have to stay at your job, you can always quit and get another one. I quite like my job though. I get to work on my own, which is really nice. So, and the place I'm at now, I don't really have any problem with the other employees because I don't meet any of them. I don't really have any problems with the employers because they're pretty decent. I barely deal with them. But that's a rare instance. But you know, if I did and I needed the money, it's because I have a wife and child, and if I needed to provide for them, then yeah, I'd put up with it then. That's, you know, until I could find something else. But there's always a way out. Look for another job. It's actually easier to find a new job when you already have one, because especially if you've been there for a while, because you can show that you'll turn up and you're reliable. There are always options. But beyond that, yeah, anything else, doesn't matter how much you like that person, doesn't matter how much useful they are for you, doesn't matter how much it'll bother you. You have to make a decision somewhere along the way. Is it easier to continue to deal with them, or would it be easier for you to just say, fuck off, don't want to do anything with you anymore? And let's be honest, in the vast majority of cases, the latter is actually the better option. It seems easier in the short run, but especially if you're autistic, you'll know that what's easier in the short run, in the short term, is far worse. Far, far worse on down the line, because when the meltdown comes, it's not something that's happened right now. This is something that's been building up for weeks, months, years. So cutting them off, rip the band-aid off, so to speak. The important point, though, I want to come back to end this here. You can feel however the fuck you want. You don't really have any control over the way you feel. The only thing you can control is how you react to it. Your emotions are going to happen no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try. You cannot bury them. You can hide them, you can put them aside and indulge them at a later date, but they will still fucking be there. And that is absolutely fine. You feel the way you want to feel. You do what you think is best for you. I'll try and be a bit more structured next time. But until then, if you do, if anyone ever does, thank you for watching.